Today I want to show you a great way to store and display your paints. This storage is particularly good if you are short on space like me. This paint storage keeps your paint tubes organized, make a great display of the beautiful colors, and it's very easy to make. These boards can be mounted onto a wall or have it propped up against something, so it hardly takes up any space, ideal for a tiny creative space. I have the same kind of storage for my acrylics already, but as you'll see, my watercolors are in a bit of a mess, so I am making the same thing for them. I keep my watercolors in this basket which sits in my trolley, but as you can see, it's a bit of a nightmare to trying to find the right color. You know, if you're looking for a specific one, usually I end up having to do this and then just rifle through all my colors. So I want to get that nicely organized in a way that makes it easier for me to find the color I'm looking for. What you will need: an MDF board. I am using two A1 size 6mm thick boards, but please choose a size that suits your needs best. A sealant of some sort. I am using Jackson's Fluid Matte Medium. A paint in a color of your choice. I am using Jackson's Heavy Body Acrylic in Titanium White. A cheap brush. I like to use a Hake brush. A ruler and a pencil. Some hooks. I'll talk next about what type of hooks and how many to get. And some mini bulldog clips. I'll put the list and links to these items in the descriptions below. Step 1. Decide on how many tubes you want to store. It's best to do this step before ordering anything. Simply, you count up how many paint tubes you already have, and then decide how much room for growth you'd like to have in your storage. This will give you the total number of hooks and clips to buy. I counted 95 tubes for myself. Now I would like plenty of room for growth in my collection because I'm just addicted to watercolors, so I'm going to double that number and aim for around 200 tubes in total. I also know that I want A1 size boards to match my other boards as they are going in front of my acrylic boards, so that should be enough space to hold 200 tubes. Step 2. Decide on what type of hooks you want to use. Now I can recommend 3 options for what kind of hooks to use. Option 1. Nails. Nails are the easiest, quickest and the cheapest option. However, it has one flaw in that they're not very secure if the board tilts forward. This isn't a problem if you are intending on mounting the whole thing to the wall, but if you are going to lean it against things and maybe move it around, it's not a great option. So in short, cheap, easy, but only if you are mounting the board onto the wall. Option 2 is screw hooks. I personally used screw hooks for my acrylics board. It's sturdy and cheap. As you can see here, you can lean your board forward a lot and your paint tubes will stay put. The only downside to the screw hooks is that they are quite a pain to put in. We put in 80 hooks for my acrylic board last time and we literally lost the will to live by the end of it. Screw hooks are cheap, secure, but only if you have few tubes to store. Option 3 is commando hooks. Commando hooks are a great option if you're storing lots of watercolor paints. They are much easier to put on than screw hooks, and it's just as secure if you have to move your board around. Commando hooks are the most expensive choice out of the 3, but you can get bulk packs for better value. These ones are actually for fairy lights, but they are perfect for dainty watercolor tubes. In short, commando hooks are the most costly, but great if you have lots of watercolors to store. Since I have lots of watercolors to store, I am going to be using these for this project. Now that you know what types of hooks to get and how many hooks and clips to get, you can get shopping. Once you've got your hooks and clips, it's time to measure how much space you're going to need per tube and plan the layout of your board. Next, you want to get all your watercolors from different brands and different sizes and figure out which is your longest and widest, but they usually tend to be about the same width. So you want to find the longest one so that you know the maximum height you want to have. And then what you do is get the clip, pop it on, get one of your hooks, hook it on, and just pop it on a piece of paper, pencil, and just mark the top and tail of it, and also the width. Awesome. And then you can measure how tall and long it is. For me, it's 11 centimeters tall and somewhere between 3 and 3.5. So I know I want to have at least a centimeter gap between like one and the next, for to make it easier for me to pick it up and put it back on without knocking the ones to either side. And I want the same for the bottom, so I know that I need to create ones that are at least about, let's do a nice round number of 4 centimeters across and 12 centimeters down. So that's the measurement I am going to use to work out how many of these boxes I can fit into my A1 board. Step 4. Sealing the MDF board. Painting the MDF board is totally optional, but if you are going to paint it, you need to first seal the surface. MDF boards are very absorbent, so if you do not seal it in, it will soak up your paint and you're going to end up using way more paint than you need to. So sealing the board is a little step that is well worth doing. As for the choice of sealant, there are several. The ones I can think of are matte medium, fluid matte medium, watered down PVA glue, or just normal house wall paint primer. I am using fluid matte medium as it goes on very easily, and it is what I had in my studio already. All you need to do is apply a thin but thorough layer to your MDF board. Don't forget to do the sides. Step 5. Flip the board over and seal the other side. Once the first side is thoroughly dry, flip the board over and do the same to the other side. Once again, nice thin but thorough coat. It should be easy to see if you have missed any part, as the sealant tends to darken the board underneath. Step 6. Paint the board twice. This is again optional, but once the sealant is properly dry, it's time to paint it. Apply a thin layer of your paint. It's best to paint in thin layers and have to do more layers than to try and do them in thick coats. You'll get a much smoother finish that way. Again, don't forget to do the sides too. It's easy to forget to do the sides though, so I tend to do them first, then paint the rest of the board. Allow each layer to dry before putting the next layer, and once you are happy with this side, let it dry overnight. Step 7. Flip the board over and paint the other side. Now this is even more of an optional step, but I sometimes turn the board around if I want a cleaner look, so I am going to be painting the other side of the board too. Same method as the last step, nice thin layers, dry between layers and dry overnight once you are done. Step 8. Prep the commando hooks. This is again an optional step for if, like me, you are using commando hooks. If you have lots of hooks to do, this is a great time to get some extra hands to help you. The hooks comes in sheets, so separate them into individual hooks and do the same for adhesive pads. Take an adhesive pad, peel off the paper with the colored text, it will be red or blue, and press it onto the back of the hook. Repeat this step on all of the hooks. Step 9. Put the clips onto the tubes. Now you want to put these clips onto the... Is that the bottom end or the top end? The non-lid side, just like that. And what I also do is just fold this one that's at the front down so that it's easier to hook on to the hooks later on. Step 10. Mark out where to put the hooks. Once the board is thoroughly dry, it's time to mark where the hooks are going to go on it. Following your plan you made earlier and using a pencil, mark where you want the hooks to be. For doing larger boards, the big long ruler I have, link below, is super useful. I don't often use this ruler, but when I do, I am so grateful to have it. So if your budget allows it, I highly recommend it for your studio. Step 11. Put the hooks onto the board. If you are using commando hooks, you will need to peel the paper with the black writing saying wall side off the adhesive pad. Put the hook in position, then firmly press on the hooks for 30 seconds. This is where an extra pair of hands come in super handy. Step 12. Install the board to its location. If you are mounting the board onto your wall, this is a good time to install it in place. Either way, install the board to its intended location. Step 13. Arrange the tubes in the order you want to have. Now we get to arrange your beautiful paint tubes in the order you are going to have on the board. This is my favorite step. For me, I have 12 colors I use the most, so they are going on the top row. After that, I am grouping the tubes into brands, then ordering each brands into color order. Step 14. Hang the paints in place. Transfer your nicely ordered paint tubes to the board and hang them. This is definitely the most satisfying stage, seeing all your work come together into a beautiful display of color.
Yes! Finished!
Step 15. Admire your collection. Admire your work, your colors and how organized everything is. I hope this video was helpful and inspiring to you. If you have any questions about the process, please ask away in the comments. And if you do make one of these storage displays, please let me know in the comments too. I would love to see yours. Thank you so much for watching this video. Please like, comment and subscribe, and I will see you later.